All right, so I hope that little discussion about soup helped you understand how random sampling works to give us an understanding of the bigger whole. Okay, so with that, again, I'm sorry guys, my head like covers some of the words, so if you listen, you should be able to get them. Okay, right? Some important things that you need to consider when we talk about scientific polling and that methodology are how some errors could occur, right? So I talked about this the last time I was speaking to you before you watched the video about the soup, something called a sampling error. So when you use a sample, there is always going to be a slight difference between the sample results and the population. That's that margin of error or sampling bias that I talked about, okay? Another thing that you really need to consider is the actual structure or format of the question itself or the survey itself. So the order that the question is presented or the specific words that are used can alter or modify the way that someone responds. That's very much a psych thing, right? So if I use the word crash or I use the word accident or smash, that might evoke different feelings in people, and therefore they might respond differently, okay? Also, the way that you present your study or the order of the questions. They once did a study looking at Bush's performance. So in 2002, they had groups answer questions about President Bush's performance, and they asked them in different orders. Okay, so the first thing they did was ask them about the overall state of the country. And then they asked about his performance. Then they flip-flopped them and asked about the performance and then the state of the country. And they found that they got different results depending on the order of the questions. So if you've ever taken a survey or a poll and you've thought to yourself, they've asked me this same question 3 times in 3 different ways, that's on purpose. And that's because they want to make sure they're like filtering out some of these other things. Because when you conduct a poll, you actually want the answer to the question that you're asking. You don't want the result to be because of the word you chose to use or the order that you put your questions in, right? So when they draft and construct these polls that people are given from that scientific fashion, they are very, very careful and methodical and purposeful in the way that they structure and organize these surveys because they want to make sure that they're getting accurate results, okay, or true data, okay? Another thing that's important is the format of the poll and whether it is 100% anonymous or not. The greater amount of anonymity in a poll, right, the more honest people are typically willing to be because those responses cannot come back to them. The last thing that you have to consider is uninformed people, right? Uninformed people answer polls all the time. They have no clue what they're talking about. Absolutely no clue. And you want to know what? They respond to the poll anyway. All right. So the next video clip that I have for you really is just kind of to give you a little chuckle. It's from the Jimmy Kimmel Show. It's optional. You can skip it if you want to and just go to video number 4. But I think it's funny. And it shows, one, it's an example of a straw poll because it's being given by a media outlet. It's not really reliable, but still funny. But it does demonstrate that people are willing to answer questions that they know absolutely positively nothing about. So if you're interested in that one, watch video number 3. If not, go ahead and jump to video number 4.